Hey Ryan, would you mind telling us about yourself?
Sure. Uh, I own a dog walking company, and I also do a lot of working out. And in the last couple of years, I started running ultra marathons, which an ultra marathon is anything over 26.2 miles. Usually takes place in the trails and stuff. Besides running my business, I also do a lot of training for these races.
Hmm. Wow. I mean, when people say marathon, I get scared, but when they say ultra marathon, it's just like, it goes to some extraordinary stuff for me,
Oh yeah.
so would you mind telling me how you arrived at that point? Like what made you decide to do it and
Um,
what obstacles you might have, faced, arriving at that point?
Sure. I guess I started coming to a point in my life where I really wanted to see what I was capable of. You know, uh, it, I had done a Tough Mudder race, which, is obstacles, and it was like 10 miles and with some obstacles running through mud. And it really kind of invigorated me. And I was like, wow, well, this is great. I feel very alive, more alive than when I had done like marathons or other road races. Something about I could connect to nature. I could connect to like the gruelingness of it, the dirtiness of it, almost like connecting to it as a child, out playing in the mud.
Hmm.
I started doing CrossFit. I started really getting in shape because I started signing up for races that scared me. And at first they were obstacle races, just, 30 obstacles with like, I don't know, 14, 15 miles. But the level just kept on getting higher and higher. The ante kept on getting up, and people started presenting me with more challenges like, hey, there's a race that's 64 miles long. So
Mm.
in the wintertime, do you want to try this out? I'm like, yeah, like that's a good test. I guess I just wanted to see who I was, and ultra marathons present that challenge for me.
Wow. So what is the thought process of a person running like a 64-mile winter ultra marathon? So what is your state of mind? What is the preparation? How do you prepare for those?
Well, preparation is going to be about a lot of simulation. I'm going to want to simulate race day, so I want to know what's going to happen to my gear in the cold. I want to know if my water bottles are going to freeze when I'm out there. I want to know what food is going to be, because I'm going to have to eat, 200 to 400 calories an hour. So what food is good for me as far as like doesn't upset my stomach and
Mhm.
makes me want to keep eating and doesn't makes me feel nauseous, but fuels me, like basically proper fuel, like just as any car has to drive across the country, I need to make sure that I have the best fuel for me. And so trying to eliminate any sort of um, missteps, like you have to think like, what's going to be happening around mile 30? Like, am I going to be warm? Like when it becomes nighttime, the temperature is going to drop even more. It's going to be negative 18 degrees wind chill. So what do I have to prepare for that? Like what clothes do I need to have on? Um, just there's so many like your brain is just constantly going through scenarios of what if, what if, what if, and then the mindset. Like I can't. You play a lot of number games, you play a lot of mind games, but you really have to just be present and just do what is, when you're at race day, you have to do what is just right in front of you, which is usually just get to that next aid station. But sometimes you're even breaking it up of like, I'm just going to run for this next minute. I'm going to run for this next mile. I'm just going to keep on moving. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep on moving. Like you really have to break it down into really simple, like putting kind of one foot in front of the other. Just keep moving forward. Stopping, sitting down, resting by the fire. Those are you don't want to do any of those things.
So it looks like to me, it sounds like you cannot wing an ultra marathon. You have to prepare meticulously in order to succeed, or at least, to finish.
Well, I would say yes and no. There are definitely people that want to test themselves to an even more extreme. So they are just in general like physically fit, and so they may not have specialized in like preparing for an ultra marathon.
Hmm.
So, but they'll still throw themselves into an ultra marathon just to see if they can do it.
Oh,
I know of
okay.
several people that will kind of do it that way. Um, that seems very scary to me. I you know, like I want to make sure that. Well, also
Hmm.
I want to succeed. So how can I succeed? What do I need to do to succeed? You know.
Got it. Got it. Well, so there's different types of people. You are the one who plans the things ahead because you
Yes.
want to
Yeah.
make sure your chances of success are higher, right?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
like when I when I did my 100-mile race, I signed up for it. I knew I was going to do a 100-mile race a year out. So I wanted to make sure I picked the right 100-mile race. I wanted to at the right time in the right season. Its difficulty, and so I had months of planning, you know, especially planning with other people that were going to help me, support me, and who I was going to have surround me to help me achieve this goal. So,
Hmm.
yeah, and every day just going through the scenarios, you know, like what could go wrong. It's always like, what can go wrong? What can go wrong? So then I have a backup plan or something to, just kind of be able to adapt. You have to really adapt. Like as much planning as you can do, there's always going to be a foreseeable thing, and you have to be able to adapt to those situations.
Well, it sounds to me actually like the life course that we are running in a way that to prepare to a marathon is like preparing for life. What if I have this right next month? What if I have this? So planning seems to be working for you, and it definitely reduces that stress if those things occur in life, right? It kind of reduces that, oh my God, what am I gonna do? So you don't get frozen. You already have some kind of plan prepared for this situation.
Yeah, for
Hmm.
sure. There's a planning aspect, and then there's also like just doing what is right in front of you, and that by moving forward one step at a time, I'm moving towards my goal. It may not be as fast as I want it to be. It may not
Hmm.
be as efficient as I want it to be, but it's still like I'm moving towards my goal, you know?
Yeah, so it's a combination, right? It's a combination. You're still facing the life on life terms, but in case something happens, you're prepared for it too. So it's both.
Yeah.
Now,
That's,
in your life, uh, have you had those obstacles, and have your training, or has your training for marathons or just for this lifestyle helped you overcome those obstacles? Can you maybe name a couple, like how your mindset helped you in real life?
well, I mean, for years, I, I'm a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. So um, there is a certain sense of like kind of in love with the suffering a little bit,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
so. Some would say that I replaced, drugs and alcohol with like doing these extreme sports to like
Hmm. Hmm.
make me feel alive. Like somehow my brain is backwards wired. That I feel alive when I'm really at that really kind of struggling towards a goal or working towards a goal. You know, um, it's just So when I quit drugs and alcohol, having that wanting to like expand in my body, wanting to feel alive in my body was definitely I missed it. I think I used to run
Hmm.
in high school and college, and the person I had become was just this. Um, just I don't even know how to explain like the way I didn't even know, like I just felt numb to myself, so like once I kind of overcame those things and like, oh well, now I don't have this kind of fog that I'm living in. I can actually I can set goals and I can go achieve them,
Hmm.
also like in my business, like there's things that happen all the time, and some days it's just me just kind of, all right, got to get to the next client, get to the next client. All right, deal with what's in front of me. I can't stress about, what's going to happen next week. All I can do is think about, today I have tasks to do, kind of like I just need to get up this hill. Once I get up this hill, there's going to be another hill, but right now I can't worry about that next hill. I just have to worry about what's going on right in front of me,
Yep, I got it. So my standard question is, what makes your heart sing today? Like, what wakes you up in the morning? What makes you want to move?
Oh, wow. It's a really big question. And, if I'm out on the trails, just in Wisconsin or any part, just like surrounded by trees, with my girlfriend, that's pretty amazing, like just kind of even just simple road trips out of the city where we go explore or go hiking or something, or just even go to a city that we've never been to. Like I'm just beaming like a little kid, I got the big old smile on, when we're at a race or we're running in the trails or even in a cabin, an Airbnb cabin. It's pretty nice. I would say that's what makes my heart sing these days.
Got it. It sounds to me, and you correct me if I'm wrong, you're being connected to where you are, to who you are with, is that fulfills you the most, right?
Yeah. It's interesting also, like during a big race, like I can't think about anything else. Like there's no room for resentment. There's no room for like, what do I need to do for my business? There's simply, I can only be in the present moment. And it just is so relieving just to only, like, all I have to do is just be here on this trail and keep running.
Cool.
So it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know it's not in our tradition to give advice or suggestions, but what would you say to people who are watching, who might be going through some obstacles in their lives?
Yeah.
Like, what would you say to them?
Well, I would say that this too shall pass. It's not always going to be like this, but for me, what always helps is taking action. Like, what can I do today, just today, that will move me that much closer up the hill, up towards that next obstacle? I may not see it in the big picture, but just making those movements. Like, oftentimes, like, let's say, for example, I need to hire a new employee and I just can't seem to hire somebody. I can't find somebody. I just need to take the action, and let go of how those results happen. But I'm moving forward. It may not feel like I'm moving forward, but by me taking actions, that's me moving forward. So if you are struggling with something, just taking, just the smallest of action, because tomorrow, like, those small actions will add up to even bigger actions. I mean, like, it's more about, like, you're going to get there. It may not be the way you want it to get there, but you're going to get there. So, be present, take a look at your life. If you're not where you are today and that you want to be, then start taking small actions to get to where you do want to be.
All right, small steps.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Ryan, for taking your time out of your busy schedule and sharing with us your extraordinary actions in an ordinary life. So I appreciate you, and
thank you.
Thanks again. Happy New Year, and I wish you to achieve everything you have set to do in this 2020.
Great. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Bye.
Bye.